Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah. What's been occurring?
Not much, just had some food, just trying to sort this out. It took me about 15 minutes, but
You've got something in your ears.
Yeah.
Hey.
Those earrings or what?
No, they're quite fashionable now. To be fair, I didn't actually need them in. I just
like the look of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The format of this will be that Macca will probably ask you some questions. We'll chip in with a little bit, and hopefully Macca will ask me some questions just with things generally that perhaps the fans might want to know about. So we're recording from now anyway, chaps. So if you want to go hell for leather, Macca, it's over to you.
Well, welcome, Alex, on to today's video. Alex George Bray, I believe.
George?
Is that correct?
George Bray? Is he having a laugh?
Is that your middle name?
Oh, that is my middle name.
Rainbow.
Also, I'd just like to say welcome to Oski as well. Andrew Clive Hoskins to his first call.
Yeah. Welcome, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Marcus. Very nice to see you again.
Alex, just want to obviously go through part of your playing career, a bit about you, and ask you a few questions so some of the ourselves and supporters get to know you a little bit better. Looking on Wikipedia, you've had more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. Do you want to talk through some of the clubs that you've been at?
Obviously, I started when I was about went to Swindon when I was about 14. Then went to Swansea for about 7 years. And I was about a pro there for about 4. Went on loan to Plymouth. Unfortunately, did my ACL on my debut. And then after that, I went on loan to Rotherham. From Rotherham, went on loan to Forest Green. And then I sort of slowly filtered down. I've played for York, Weston-super-Mare, Hereford, and obviously now Chippenham. So
yeah, I remember seeing you at Forest Green, and you did well there actually. And now you're with us, which is good. Look, firstly, obviously, the apple don't fall far from the tree because your dad used to play. Is that right?
Yeah, he did, but we're completely different players, to be honest.
Well, yeah, we see that. 22 sending offs.
Yeah,
I think you've only just made 22 tackles in your career, so
he hasn't done 22 tackles. No. 2 tackles, I think he's done.
Yeah.
So go on.
Yeah, he always tells me every game as well to get stuck in, but I'm not that sort of player, you know. I'm not that sort of guy. So.
Oh, you stick to what you're good at, mate. Don't worry about what your dad. You don't want to be getting sent off 22 times. Trust me.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So when you left Swindon, did Swansea pay any money for you?
No, they didn't actually. It was during the scholarship sort of talks, and they sort of didn't make their decision up. So I sort of took that as a no. And I played for Wales under 15s at the time. And through that, I got a trial at Swansea. And actually, for the trial for Swansea, we played against Swindon. Did well. We won 2-0. They signed me on the spot there. And at the time, Swansea was just about going to the playoff final. For me, no-brainer, really.
Yeah. And it says Wales under 19s as well.
Yeah, I went well to Wales under 19s, played in like the Euro qualifications and all that. Yeah, really enjoyed it, to be fair. A lot of the Swansea lads at the time were in that squad. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Who's the famous players that you played with? We went on to have a senior.
You've obviously got Dan James, obviously at Man United now. Ben Davis, the left back for the Tottenham.
Yeah.
And then you've got a few probably floating around like League 2, League 1. Josh Sheehan, Liam Shepherd, Ryan Hedges, who's he's playing in Scotland at the moment for Aberdeen. Yeah, there's plenty. Yeah, quite a few of the lads have went on to do big things, to be fair.
So just you let yourself down.
Matt, are you,
Yeah, well,
is
there's a lot that happens as well.
are you the same age group as the lad who plays left back for Tottenham?
Yeah, Ben. No, he's about 2 years older than me, Ben.
Oh, is he?
So we played in like so for Swansea, sorry, that was for the under 23s. We played.
Yeah, because I come down to do your level 2 at Swansea City, didn't I? And I must have done Ben at some stage, but to be honest, I remember more than I remember Ben, mate.
Oh, really? Short but sweet, weren't they? Those coach songs, but yeah.
Yeah.
Don't believe him. I was just trying to big you up, make you sound good.
Cookie, a question for you. Are you Chippenham been awarded something for the programme? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think we got voted third best in the South Division of our programme for the season. So that's a big shout out to everybody who contributes to that and the volunteers that make up the programme. That's a fantastic achievement. So, and you know what I have noticed back Chippenham is the amount of volunteers and people with goodwill who do come and do things for free, and a very important part of the club, and it makes the club tick along very nicely. So, well done to those who contributed.
Yeah, here. Prior to you coming on, Alex, we were having a chat, and I prior to Cookie getting on as well, chatting to Oski, and obviously now Cookie's here, I'm going to mention it. You mentioned that Spencer Hamilton has left Gloucester. Can you tell us what type of player he is and where do you think he'll end up, bearing in mind that he's best mates with Chris Knowles, who's gone to Western?
Yeah, he's got a couple of mates at Western. I think Avo's gone there as well. So having seen that he and what looked unfortunate for him sort of left Gloucester this week, I could see him perhaps hooking up with the guys at Western. I think if you think back to the interview you did last week, you talked about player profiling. He's certainly somebody that would fit what we're looking for. Whilst me and Cookie were with him at Gloucester, he was player of the season. He was a 100% committed sort of player, typical centre half, great in the air. Athleticism is fantastic, and his attitude is second to none. So I think he'd certainly suit us. I haven't spoke to him since we left Gloucester, but it would be good to perhaps have a catch-up call with him at some point and see what his plans are and where his future lies.
I think you're right. I think he had a good partnership. Obviously, I joined towards the end. He had a great partnership with Ovo, so you can see that maybe that as a partnership moving forward. So we wish him all the best.
Predominantly, he was a centre half, but he's also got the ability of playing in that right back position, which he did for us a couple of times to help us out before. And it's the same again. You know what you get with Spence. He's that typical. He'll do exactly what you want him to do, and he's a fantastic lad as well. I used to play with his old man, or against his old man quite a lot, and he's very similar. He's got the same sort of attributes as John did, and it's great to see he's had a good career. It's a shame that he's had to leave Gloucester, but I think it'll be a benefit to anybody that picks him up. Okay.
Back to you, Al. At the end of last season, and I had you at Western for a bit, and had more glimpses of what you could do. We saw some great driving runs with your pace, good delivery of crosses. What can ourselves, me, Cookie, Oski, and other people expect when we start the season again?
Well, like you said, obviously I think I played 7 games and I felt like I was slowly coming into it. I didn't really get going until probably the 3rd or 4th game where I started to get a bit more comfortable with the lads and, like you said, get a few more crosses. But yeah, I think what I bring is mainly pace down the line, eating 1v1s, creating chances really. I think that's sort of me down to a T.
Yeah, and for us, obviously it's important that you're creating chances, but also chipping in with the odd goal now and again. I think one of the best goals I saw, especially over the last couple of years, was yours away at Torquay. So that'll be something I'm sure that potentially that the crowd will be excited to see for the start of next year.
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, that's probably the best goal I've scored in my career. That's what I'm looking. Yeah, that's what I'm looking to bring this season. Well, next season, and chip in with a few more, hopefully, because I know what I can do. I just haven't been able to quite at the back of the net yet.
Yeah. Was you going to say something, Cookie?
Yeah,
I was going to just dive in and say something quickly. Go on, Cookie.
All I was going to say, mate, is that I think one of the reasons why we found Alex attractive to bring to the club was because he carries the ball, he dribbles the ball well, he runs with it fantastic. His quality, his crossing is great. I think that, as he mentioned, the only sort of little thing that he needs to work on is his conversion of shots into goals. So, you know, that'll be something that we will definitely be working with him, you know, on the coaching staff, with the training ground. And there's going to be a lot of times when we get the ball out wide onto both wings, because Alex can play both sides as well. And he will be an integral part of us going forward and making attacks. So I think, especially if it's the system that we play, a 4-4-2 should suit him down to the ground, because really it becomes a 4-2-4 when we attack. And, you know, we've got to have decent wingers to play that system of play. And I think he fits very nicely into that. And, you know, whenever we've seen him play, whether it's been at Hereford or whether it was when he was younger, when he was at Swansea, for me, he's a bit of a crowd pleaser. He's a bit of a game changer. He's that type of player. So, yeah, tackling and everything like that is important. And when we were in a relegation battle last year, I think I had to remind you, Alex, didn't I, about your defensive duties maybe a little bit with tackling. But to be fair to him, he took it on board, and, you know, he made sure he didn't miss another tackle, which was fantastic for us, because it you know, at least he's willing to listen and learn, and hopefully he's going to be a massive influence on Chippenham Town with this season coming up, with a bit of luck.
Thank you.
I think I can't say this the same for Macca, but I think it's clear to see that me, you, and Cookie haven't been to the hairdressers for some time during the lockdown period. So, what have you been doing with your team? How have you been keeping yourself fit during the last couple of months?
Well, I've been doing a lot of running. To be fair, I'm not lucky like some of the lads who PTs and stuff who've got their own sort of gym equipment. So I've mainly been doing sort of body weighted sort of stuff, but I've been mainly sort of cardio stuff. So I've been running. My missus has been on the bike next to me, and where I am sort of in the countryside, there's a lot of hills and that, so a lot of hill sprints, and obviously getting on the bike as well, which is good. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it a bit fresh, keep mixing it up a bit, and yeah, I think I'm ticking over quite well, to be fair.
Good.
Funny you should say cycling, because myself and Oski founded a bike club. So at the moment, it's just me and Oski are the founder members. We've invited Cookie for tomorrow to go for a bike ride. But as founding members, I feel that we should have the bikes to actually prove that we're the founding members. Now, Cookie's got a good bike. Oski's got this snidey one that he picked up from a bloke in Birmingham the other week.
We're not supposed to be going out.
He messaged me saying, and God's honest truth, I've gone to Birmingham to pick up a Carrera bike. Carrera. I was like, oh, brilliant.
Carrera's supposed to be spelt with a C and not a K, isn't it?
I know. He turned up, it's Carrera with a K. It's unbelievable. It's the worst bike I've seen.
It's no good.
But we have been out on a bike. But
to go to Smallheath and pick it up.
Socially distancing, of course. You're correct, Anthony.
Absolutely.
So, Alex, Cookie's going to give you a forfeit if you don't perform well. We're going to give you 5 questions of a quiz. If you don't perform well, first day of pre-season doesn't look good for you. They're going to be based around Chippenham. Okay, so you should get them. Okay, can you name Chippenham Town's ground?
Harden Hewish Stadium Park.
Well done.
Go on, we'll give you that 1 out of 1.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. On the Chippenham Town badge, what is below? What date was the club established? And what is the club's motto? Stop looking round for your kit.
I'm going to go for 1955.
1873. And what's the club's motto?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
It's pride and passion. It's on your badge when you look at your tracksuit. Okay. 50% at the moment, Alex. It's not looking good for you.
I'll take
What
that.
is Chippenham Town's nickname?
Oh,
Come on.
Oh, I know it. What can I
This.
think? I'm bad at
The fans will be in uproar if you don't get this.
Oh my God, I can see it now. Bray out.
Bray out.
You can see me in the garden now.
I'm from Chippenham as well, so
I have to push you. It's Bluebirds.
4,
Okay.
3.
Bluebirds.
Okay. Fourth, penultimate question. Who knocked Chippenham Town out of the FA Cup last year?
Southampton.
Correct.
Well done.
Okay. They get easier. So this is the easiest one. If you don't get this, everyone gets this. And I'm not from Chippenham, but I know it.
Yeah.
Okay. They're in a book, Chippenham Town FC, 146-year history. It said they have traced the beginnings of the club back to 1873, which I've already mentioned previously.
Yeah.
Okay. This was done, and that was done on after the first ever FA Cup final. Okay. However, officials agreed to meet in Chippenham from the association at the George Hotel in town. However, can you tell me what the building is called now? Easy. It is easy.
Is he gonna know that?
It's in the book of history of Chippenham Town. Anyone that joins a club should be reading it. I have.
I'll bet you £1 million he won't know that. He's doing extra running as well, by the way. When
Have a guess.
First week as well, haven't we?
Weatherspoons?
Oh, it begins with a W. It's W.H. Smith's.
Oh, it's close.
You'll be running until you're sick.
Yeah, extra running.
That shouldn't take very long.
Yeah.
So, last question for you, Al. Obviously, we'll have a team ambition and the club and to think about what we want to achieve next year, and that'll be done when we shape up come August, September, whenever it starts. What's your personal ambition for next season?
For me, it would be to score over 10 goals for my personal. For the team, I'd want us to get into the playoffs. Personally, I think the team, we can get together, could push for playoffs, and that's what I would go for personally, yeah. Okay.
10 goals, we'll hold you to that, and we'll see where we get to. Cheers out. And obviously for Cookie and Oski, I know that obviously we chat regularly every week regarding how do you see pre-season shaping, and is it coming along nicely? What about players? Any certain positions that we're looking at to try and recruit for next year?
Boss, I'll answer that, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all it was is it's a bit difficult to plan things at the moment because we don't know from the league what the status is of when we're going to start the season. So, but there's things that we've used over the last few years for training that we know that will bring the boys up to speed for that first game of the season. So, I mean, I personally think we probably are not going to kick off the season until about September, October time. So that means that our pre-season will be probably August, September. But, I just think if you look at the social distancing and what they're talking about, then it could be a bit of a wait for us. They might even start having small crowds into games to start off with, which might suit us, and that might allow us to maybe start a little bit sooner. So, but if it does start in, say, October, then I think it could be, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday for games-wise for a couple of months. And then they might extend the season in May 2021. So, it's a little bit tricky for us at the moment because I agree with Alex. What you don't want to do is the lads that are on what would normally be their closed season now, you don't want them doing too much. You want them just relaxing, just sticking over. It would help immensely if you could get together and get a date from the league to start things off, because obviously that would make a big difference for us going forward. What about, do you want to talk about players? You're putting your hands all over the screen, Macca.
Yeah, I was coming down to. I was just doing mimic by hands. Yeah, just a little bit about player profile. What you're looking for, as in, I know that we had Jay last year at left back, and obviously with the likes of certain players going, with centre forward to be key. Is there anything that you're looking for? Has anyone updated you regarding contracts or wanting to stay?
Do you want me to answer that as well, Os?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah. There's we've had a few phone calls from a few lads directly, but obviously we've targeted several players as well. We think that we need an attacking fullback on the left hand side. We're quite happy with Reece. I think he's done really well. We need probably a sitting midfield player, so we're waiting to see what happens with players like Luke Russ. However, if Luke doesn't become available for, say, a loan, then we would probably go into the market for somebody else that plays that defensive midfield role, the sitting role for us. We need another centre forward coming in at the moment, probably two centre forwards, but we're quite close to one centre forward that we've been targeting probably since about February, March time. So that looks like that might come to some conclusion sooner or later. And then we've just got to have a look around. We'll be getting 8 or 9 trialists in for pre-season, but we will also be getting in, obviously the 4 or 5 that we want to bring into the squad. So because of, we'll probably end up having a smaller squad, I would think, and hopefully utilising some of the youth team players that we can, obviously gradually get into the squad over a period of time. So they might start off as subs and then get into getting minutes and, developing them for themselves. So that'd be nice if we could do that.
What about any news on Will Purley? Yeah,
Will's still in negotiations with us at the moment. Obviously, there's lads that have left because the money that we were offering them was not the same as what it was last year. We've all had to take a little bit of a hit because of COVID-19 and what the club are doing with the new stand as well, which I've not got a problem with that. I think, we can't ask Neil and John and the board to be paying out crazy money for players. So we just need to consolidate a little bit this year financially, I think. Like I would say 99% of most of the clubs that are in our league are going to have to do that, and even the Football League as well. So that shouldn't come as a major surprise to people. But we've just obviously love for Will to stay. Hopefully with what we've offered him, he will stay. I see him as an integral part of us going forward if he possibly can. So yeah, those sort of 3 or 4 positions, we've got a couple of months to fill them, but we're already on the case with them with a bit of luck.
I think you're absolutely spot on. I spoke to a League 2 manager this week, and their squad will be running with a squad of 18, where max, where it's usually 22, 23, and they dip into the loan market. So I think there'll be a lot of disappointed players that are thinking they're getting contracts at places where they're not going to get the money that they used to get, or they won't hold as many pros. They'll probably go into the loan market from Championship or Premier League clubs, and players will filter down the pyramid. And I think if you're lucky enough, like the likes of Alex, to have a club now where you're comfortable, you know where you're starting, and you can build on, and whatever your aspirations are, whether it's to go higher or stay at Chippenham or whatever, at least you know what you're doing. I think there's a few that are going to be very uncertain coming in the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, and I think you're right on that as well. With certainly with conversations that I've had with players, the realization is there's not that amount of money around like there was last year. So I think the astute ones will be the ones that can get signed with these pre-contract agreements, get it down on a bit of paper, and then you're sorted for the summer. Yeah. And all you've got to do is concentrate on getting yourself nice and fit, and looking forward to the start of the season then with a bit of luck.
Perfect. Well, that's it, Alex. You can go back out and run now. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up soon. Stay safe.
Cheers, Alex.
Brilliant.
Thanks, mate.
See you later.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.